It's Laura here from Super Sweet Life. I'm continuing my building a planner series, and here I'm going to walk you through the first section of my planner and exactly how I do it. And I just want to say you should read the previous post where I talked about the basics of creating your own planner. This is what works for me, but it's probably not exactly what works for you. I've already talked about how this bound system works, so I won't go through that again. My first section is like the meat of the planner, the actual planning section, and I think of everything in quarters. Personally, I like to set goals instead of for the whole year, for the quarter, and kind of plan out. For the quarter, I just feel like I'm better able to judge what I need to do and know what's happening in a quarter. So I just have a little section for notes. And then here I have my goals. These are my main goals for each quarter, and then just some notes. And I know this looks like a lot. There's 10 slots, but some of these are like exercise each weekday, things like that you do repeatedly. And others of these are like finish my file project, a one-time thing. Then, this is one of my favorite layouts. I know this may not work for a lot of people, but I just have each week of the quarter here, and I can kind of plan out what needs to happen in each week, especially if I have a major deadline or a new product I'm going to release. I like to write it in here. You'll see I don't have too much in here yet because I wasn't too confident. I have a lot of extra things to get caught up on in the next couple weeks, so I didn't want to put something in pen, and I wasn't too confident I could meet those dates. So probably in a couple weeks I really will fill out a lot more of this, and it's just great to get a sense of what's going on each week. Next is the monthly calendar, and you might find this strange, but this is just what works for me. Is I actually start on Mondays, so each calendar is 4 or 5 weeks, and I don't know, it just helps me to think of it in a more structured format and look at actual weeks. I also put my blog posts on here. I really like to do that in another color, so it helps me to kind of get a sense of the weeks and a number of the weeks. And I also do not put Sunday because Sundays are usually the same for me. It's also my day off work, so there's no work-related tasks, and I have routine things that I do on Sundays, so there's rarely anything to really write down for that day. So this gives me a lot more space to write in each day. And here I just put the major things like appointments, other things that I don't want to forget, and also my blog posts that I want to write. And then here is the weekly view. And what I'm doing here is right here are my daily tasks. And I've actually pre-printed what I would like to accomplish each day. I'd like to establish a routine of getting most of these things done each day. I'm actually starting off with just a goal of accomplishing 4 of these things. One of them was already a deeply ingrained habit, and then working on 3 things that I was kind of inconsistent with. So that's all I'm focusing on for the first 2 or 3 weeks until I feel like I have that down. Then I'll add more, but occasionally I get around to a few more of the things. So I just like that to keep me on track and keep me focused on my routines. Then here's my weekly routine tasks that I want to make sure I do each week. Things like paying bills, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning out my email inbox, just things to do each week. And then my special weekly goals for each week, what I most hope to do that week. And then for my daily planning, again, there's no Sunday because I don't really plan anything for that day. But I just put the major tasks that I want to accomplish in each day on here. That's why there's not a ton of space, and that really works for me. And then, you know, as I flip through, this is just the next week. I'll plan that out before the week starts. And then after that, we have a calendar, monthly calendar, then the next week. So that's what works for me. Also, what I do for my daily plan, most days I do this. I don't necessarily do this every day, but I just have these loose pages for daily plan. And I'll write that out the day before, a little bit more detailed, like maybe if I'm doing orders, how I want to group them, things like that. So that really works for me, just to have a loose paper but I sometimes in this detailed. Other days, that's not necessary if I'm just working on one major project or something like that. So that's just a basic tour of how my planner works. Hope that helps you.